Welcome, everyone. We're about to explore the 13th part of the Quran, and let me tell you, it contains one of the most incredible stories you'll ever come across. It's a story all about betrayal, about patience that's almost beyond belief, and in the end, about the power of radical forgiveness. So, for this journey, we're drawing our insights from the wonderful book Khulasatul Quran by Maulana Muhammad Ilyas Guman. It's going to be our guide as we unpack these really profound chapters together. All right, let's jump right in with a question. And this one really gets to the heart of the story. Just imagine for a second, the very same people who betrayed you, who basically left you for dead, they suddenly show up at your door and they're desperate. They need your help. What do you do? I mean, really, what would you do? Because this is the exact situation Prophet Yusuf finds himself in. So the story picks up years, many years actually, after Yusuf was betrayed and thrown into that well by his own brothers. And after everything he's been through, he hasn't just survived. Oh no, he's actually risen through the ranks to become one of the most powerful people in all of Egypt. He's the one in charge of the food supplies, right in the middle of a terrible famine. And this is where the tension just gets, wow, it's incredible. Because of that very same famine, who shows up in Egypt looking for food? Yusuf's brothers. They come and stand before this high-ranking official asking for grain, and they have absolutely no clue, not a single clue, that they're talking to the brother they tried to get rid of all those years ago. But Yusuf, he knows exactly who they are the second he sees them. Now, what Yusuf does next is just brilliant. It's all part of a plan. He gives them the supplies they need. He even puts their money back in their bags without them knowing. But, and this is the key, he gives them one condition. He says, look, next time you come back, you have to bring your youngest brother, Binyamin, with you. And just like that, he sets up this massive test for the whole family. You see, this condition isn't just a test for the brothers. It's really setting the stage for an unbelievable test of patience and faith, especially for their father, Prophet Yaqub. I mean, you have to remember, he's still grieving the loss of Yusuf, even after all this time. Can you even imagine his pain? His sons come home and ask to take Binyamin, his only other son, from his beloved wife, Rachel. After already losing Yusuf, he must have been absolutely terrified. But the family is facing starvation. So, after making them swear a solemn oath that they'll keep Binyamin safe, he finally, reluctantly, agrees. And here's how the plan unfolds. It's pretty clever. The brothers come back with Binyamin. Yusuf pulls Binyamin aside and privately reveals who he is. Imagine that reunion. He lets him in on the plan. Then, a royal cup is secretly slipped into Binyamin's bag. When it's found, Binyamin is detained, just as the local law requires. And now the brothers have to face the absolute horror of going back to their father without another son. So they bring this devastating news back to their father. And his response? It's honestly one of the most powerful moments in the entire Quran. He doesn't get angry, he doesn't lash out. Prophet Yaqub, who has now lost two of his most beloved sons, just turns to God and says, "Fasabrun jamil," which means, so beautiful patience is most fitting. He just holds on tight to his faith, even in the middle of all that sorrow. Okay, so even more time goes by. The famine is still raging, and Prophet Yaqub's grief just doesn't let up. This growing desperation forces the brothers to go back to Egypt one last time. And this is what leads to the final, absolutely breathtaking climax of the whole story. So they head back, and this time they are completely and utterly broken. They're humbled, all their money is gone, and they're basically begging this powerful official for charity. They've truly hit rock bottom. And it's right then, in that moment of total vulnerability, that Yusuf finally decides to reveal who he is. But he doesn't start with anger or accusations. He just asks this one simple, piercing question. And in that instant, boom. They must have realized who they'd been talking to this whole time. Can you imagine the shock? And this right here is the absolute peak of the story. Before they can even wrap their heads around their guilt and their fear, Prophet Yusuf gives them the most incredible gift. He just says, "There is no blame upon you today." That's it. Immediate, unconditional forgiveness. No pointing fingers, no "I told you so," just pure, beautiful mercy. And the story's resolution comes with a miracle, of course. Yusuf gives them his own shirt to take back to their father. And as the caravan gets close, Prophet Yaqub, who had cried so much in his grief that he'd gone blind, he smells the scent of Yusuf in the air.
And when they finally arrive and place the shirt on his face, his sight is miraculously restored.
So the story ends with the whole family, all of them, finally reunited in Egypt. And they all bow before Yusuf, not as an act of worship, but out of respect. And this fulfills that dream he had when he was just a little boy, the one about the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down to him. The entire, long, painful journey has finally come full circle. All right, now let's kind of zoom out a bit from this incredible personal story. The next chapter in this part of the Quran is Surah Ar-Ra'd, and it widens the lens. It's all about seeing the signs of the divine all around us in the universe. And it talks about the qualities of people who can actually see and understand those signs. So if you look at the qualities of wise people mentioned here, they keep their promises, they keep family ties strong, they have a sense of awe for their Lord. And look at this. They are patient and they repel evil with good. I mean, doesn't that sound exactly like Prophet Yusuf and his father, Prophet Yaqub? Their story is pretty much a perfect living example of these very principles. And to wrap things up, this section also contains the beginning of Surah Ibrahim, and it kicks off with this really clear, really powerful statement about the whole purpose of the Quran. So what is that purpose? Well, the key takeaway is that the Quran is a guide. It's a book meant to bring people out of all kinds of darkness, like ignorance, jealousy, and despair, and lead them into the light of knowledge, forgiveness, and faith. And really, what better example of that journey is there than the story of Yusuf we just walked through? And you know, that really leaves us with something to think about. Prophet Yusuf couldn't have become who he was meant to be if he was holding on to all that bitterness. When he forgave his brothers, he didn't just free them, he freed himself. And that makes you wonder, doesn't it? What about us, in our own lives? What resentments are we holding on to? Who do we need to forgive to finally step out of the darkness and into our own light? This explainer was brought to you by the team here at Ummah 360, based on the book Khulasatul Quran by Maulana Muhammad Ilyas Goman. If you want to keep exploring and find more resources to help on your own journey from darkness to light, please do check out our app. Just search for Ummah 360 on the Play Store or the App Store. Thanks so much for joining us.